this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about, as a Dungeon Master, what do we supply and what do we deny? Supply and deny. This is something I think every Dungeon Master needs to be very careful of, and you need to be very aware of it. So I'm a Dungeon Master, you're a Dungeon Master, and I've been thinking about tonight I'm going to be Dungeon Mastering episode 7, Season 1, Episode 7, right, of Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, Eberron Obsidian campaign, and I'm incredibly blessed. I have, 5 people sitting around the table, and they're playing, and my question then is why, right? And I think most Dungeon Masters don't really think a lot about this, but I'm saying, why are these players sitting here at this table at this time, right? And what is keeping them here, and what is going to loose them? What is going to be like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, right? And I think we need to think carefully about this. So I'm just going to start ticking them off. I'm going to do one supply and one deny. What do I supply? So as a Dungeon Master, one thing I supply that I'm very aware that I supply is I supply a distinct, I actually very much supply the game will happen. That's a big deal. I don't think a lot of people think about this, but if you won't think too much about this if you're not on D&D Twitter, but holy cows, man, you go on D&D Twitter, and oh my gosh, you got people who are capable but not willing, right? Clearly have all the imagination and all the organization it takes to Dungeon Master, but suffer from imposter syndrome or get sad, and literally those two things. Go on D&D Twitter. Those two things shut down 1,000 games a week, right? Somebody's like, "Oh, I'm not a good Dungeon Master. I'm not going to run this week. Should I run this week?" And you're like, "Wow, man! Are you kidding me? Imposter syndrome and being sad will stop you from from being a Dungeon Master?" And so I actually, I send out a little reminder, and actually one of the things that is really unique about this one is I send it out to every player, and I say, "Hey, tomorrow I'm running Season 1, Episode 7 of Dungeons & Dragons Eberron Obsidian. I hope, at 7:30 p.m. at this FLGS, same place we were last week, same time we were last week, I don't put that part. And I hope you can make it if you're free, right?" And so one of the things that's interesting is this game was promised to one player, right? That this would happen, right? And when I committed to that, I was like, we're going to run a campaign. That game's going to have a start, a middle, and an end, right? Now, for me, where does that end, right? Well, the biggest thing is it ends at actually, Dungeons & Dragons does not have a forever play button, right? It actually ends when you hit 20th level. And I think that's very interesting to know. You're done when you hit 20th level, right? But does the campaign end when every player hits 20th level, or when one player hits 20th level? That's a question mark, right? But they know that the Dungeons & Dragons game is going to happen, right? So I am reliable, and they know that, and I'm inviting them each week, saying, "Hey, if you got bigger, better things in your world than this, you don't have to show. But if you're free, this is happening, and you can continue to tell this story with the people at the table, right?" And so I think that's unique. What do I deny them? I deny them a 4-hour game. I very much deny them a 4-hour game. And I'm aware of that, right? I despise games that are over 2 hours long, right? I'm like, hey, movies tell an entire story in 2 hours. Why can't you? It's a big deal to me, but I also know for a fact many players clutch to that old 80s foible, and they want these massive 4, 6, 8, 12-hour games. It is incredible, right? But I deny my players that. So I'm really thinking, and I realize that's something my players want that I refuse to give them, right? And so that is just one set of supply and deny, right? And I'm thinking through, what am I giving, what am I supplying them? Why are they here, right? And I think we should all be thinking about that. That's my first set of supply and deny. What's your supply and deny? Let me know, what do you supply your player characters?